this is Rachel from RightStart, wanting to walk you through parts of the questions about on your final assessment for level F. This would be the dimensional analysis section. You have two questions here, and I'm going to walk you through those two. Let's read the first one. Morgan can walk 6 kilometers per hour. How long will it take Morgan to walk 20 kilometers? Give your answers in hours and whole minutes. This is going to be the smallest time unit that we are going to use, so I'm going to pay attention to that. Okay, so I'm going to get my paper out and mark down what it is that I know. Now there are two pieces of information we're given. We're given distance, right? We're given kilometers, and we're also given time. Okay, I like to kind of think of this in two separate components until I get my information down. So the first bit of information I'm given is Morgan can walk 6 kilometers per hour. Okay, that would be my time. So 6 kilometers in 1 hour. So I'm going to write 1 hour. However, remember, we're wanting the smallest unit of time, which is going to be in minutes. So we have 1 hour, but how many minutes is in 1 hour? 60 minutes, right? So I'm going to consider this as 60 minutes. All right, so now let's take a look at what other information, well, pretty much the information we're looking for. So how long, so there's my question, how long will it take Morgan to walk 20 kilometers? All right, so that goes in the distance, 20 kilometers goes in the distance column. Do I know the time? I do not know the time. So that's what we're going to be looking for. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create fractions from the given information. All right, so I'm going to put in my numerator the distance. Okay, so my first fraction is going to be 6 kilometers. Slide this up a little bit. 6 kilometers, and I'm going to put my known information in the denominator, which is 60 minutes. We're going to work with the smallest unit we need, okay? That's going to be the same ratio as 20 kilometers. Now, the kilometers are up on the numerator, so I'm going to put the 20 up in the numerator over what's my time? I don't know. And because we're finding minutes, I'm just going to call this M. But it's basically the unknown. We don't know what that is, but I'm going to label it M for now. All right, earlier in level F, we learned about cross multiplying. Okay, doing that. However, what I really want to do is as little bit of calculations as possible, or make the calculations easier, right? So I have 6 over 60. Now, if I were to see this as a fraction, I'm going to say, ooh, that fraction can be simplified. What would that fraction be simplified? Well, I can divide the numerator and the denominator by 6. So before we do this multiplying, let's go ahead and simplify this fraction first. So 6 divided by 6, because both of these are divisible by 6, right? So let's do that. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. All right, and 60 divided by 6 is 10. So 1 over 10, and that's going to make our calculation so much easier to do. All right, now this stays the same. We cannot simplify that one because we don't know what the denominator is. Okay, so we are going to leave that as 20 kilometers over an unknown amount of minutes. All right, now this time we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. So I have 1m, we're cross multiplying, 1 times m, 1m equals 10 times 20, which is 200. And that actually is my minutes, because 1 times anything is m, right? So m is going to equal 200 minutes. Okay, now let's consider what 200 minutes are, right? So we know 60 minutes equals 1 hour. We know 120 minutes equals 2 hours. We know 180 equals 3 hours. Now we're getting close to this 200. So we're talking about 3 hours. So she was able to, or Morgan was able to do 20 kilometers in 3 hours. But not just 3 hours, 3 hours. And what's the difference between 200 and 180? 20 minutes. So 3 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, so there was that one. Now let's go ahead and read the next problem. Well, I flipped the paper here. Hold on. So here we go. Find the number of square feet in a square yard. All right, so we're given some information. First of all, what is our constants? We know what we're looking for. What measurements we're using. We're using yards and feet. Okay, but we are also taking a look at it. So feet and yards, but they're both squared. Okay, so that's the other really important piece that we need to know. Okay, now let's step away just a little bit. Ignore the squares first. If I have 1 yard, how many feet go into 1 yard? So 1 yard would be 3 feet, right? Okay, so now what we're going to do is take that information. So if I have 1 yard, but it's squared, okay, well, that means I also need to do the same thing to my feet. So I know if I'm dealing with 1 yard squared, I need to do the same thing here. 3 feet squared, okay? So this still gives me, well, this is my answer, right? This is the known information, but we're trying to find the feet. Find the number of square feet. That's the information we're looking for, all right? So here is my equation. So 3 squared is what? 9. And we're dealing with feet. And that is my answer. I hope that helps. Take care. Bye.